I'm Siri, the one who flies too close to the moon. I'm almost positive that this trailer for Nayeon's first comeback is going to mean little to nothing in the grand scheme of things, but I really want to do an analysis of it because I think it's really interesting. Now, the trailer is also less than 2 minutes long, so it goes without saying you should take all of this with a grain of salt. I just love overanalyzing K-pop content. But anyway, we open with Nayeon walking down this road, her phone in one hand. We only get shots of her from two angles at first, straight on and from the left. But when a car on the road honks at her, we get to see her turn from different angles. This admittedly doesn't seem important at first, but this video ends up being very interpersonal. As a result, it might relate back to stories like Waiting for Godot, when taking steps forward on a road would make the world of a difference in their lives, but they just can't, and they really need other angles with the trajectory of their lives. When she approaches the car, despite there being no roof, she looks through the window as she puts her hair up, suggesting she's taking a good look at herself and how she can change. She even carries a bag that has herself on it, so we know she carries things under the pretense of them relating back to her. This is something she will come to grapple with as we see her release a bunch of blankets tied together through a window in a wall with her face on it. This is what initially made me feel I had to make a video on this. It's very Rapunzel-like. But this is under the assumption that everyone knows about Rapunzel. She may be separated from the world, but her face is plastered where she lives, as if her circumstances simply do not concern anyone enough for them to care. We're also seeing her in a bed, which can be symbolic of conception, and releasing these blankets as a sign she wants to get out and make something of herself beyond what has clearly defined her, seeing as it is literally plastered with her own face. Still, she isn't releasing her own hair, already creating a degree of separation between her physical person and how she tries to take control of her own life, while it is also still tied to beginnings and conception. In black and white, we see Nayeon in a dress discarding a lollipop and talking about keeping an eye on each other's cards. This could be a reference to the scene in the pop music video when she discards her lollipop. This part of her past as part of this black and white scene is just another card at her disposal, but we also see some cards in a rolled dice in color as we seem to be moving forward from allusions to the past. Nayeon's voiceover talks about reaching 5 cards and ringing a bell as we see her tying and hanging the blankets, and it establishes her as part of the rest of the world through a game, literally signaling the absurd nature of her relationship with the world. We briefly see a blue dinosaur figurine, a replica of something old that took artistic liberties, just like her as Rapunzel, but also a Jesus figure. She spills wine on herself, but does not let it prevent her from moving forward, in fact, providing the moment's color, and there's a lot of focus on the specific positioning of her hands, especially near the end of the trailer. She ties what I think is a mango to her blankets, though these days it's hard to be sure of food in K-pop music videos. As a result, she lets a fruit mark this attempt at a transition portrayed like conception, obviously bearing the weight of how the forbidden fruit marked the beginning of humanity's self-awareness. At the same time, she's providing the fruit to others, so she is more like the snake than Eve, and she's trying to bring forth something they are already aware of but do not care to pay attention to, very much emblematic of the bystander effect. But we also have to question if she represents sin and they are simply too smart to listen, and the ramifications that could have on the rest of her story. We also see her first from the perspective of a camera viewfinder when she spills the wine, her actual person out of focus. We are literally finding our view of her, and when another bell rings, she doesn't stop to hesitate. We view her feet as she readily goes to walk a runway where she, again, does not hesitate in front of the cameras. Everyone knows her as we see her giving autographs and blowing out the candles of a cake. She has attention now, but this is when we see the fruit begin hanging, as if there are different potentially deceptive angles to perceive. On the floor, she's playing Scrabble without a board, without the generic instructions to this life of hers. She has butterflies spelled out and is trying to cross it with heaven to write NA, the name of the album, but also indicative of the term not applicable. But at the end of the video, we see she didn't spell out heaven and thus not applicable, actually cutting off heaven at heave and then spelling something. Heave indicates effort, like your chest is heaving, and something is a stark contrast to not applicable. She is not something that can simply be brushed off, something not applicable, even if that is a label she has. She is taking the road, unlike the characters of Waiting for Godot, and unlike those who chose not to help her when she tried to communicate with the outside world. that's about all I have in terms of this analysis, but I'd be interested to hear what anyone else has to say about it. I'm really looking forward to this album, so let's all make sure to pay attention when it comes out. But me and my girlies are going to party till it's early, so have a good one, but just one.